I'm sure you've heard that Trump wants to give your kid $1,000. If you're a medical professional and you're wanting to build some wealth for yourself or your kids, you need to make sure you understand the new Trump accounts and whether or not it's a good idea for your family. Let's dive into what it actually looks like. This has been introduced in the legislature, and it has passed the House through the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it is now in the Senate, so we'll see if this is passed in its current form. As I record this, late June, everything is still pending, but let's operate with what we know and talk through the pros and cons of this account. Now, this will be totally politically neutral. I'm going to go through the money piece of what this account could look like for you, your kids, good, bad, and the ugly, how it compares to other accounts out there. So the way it's structured is if your kiddo is born in a very specific time window, the administration would actually give your child $1,000 of seed money to start this account. And then parents can contribute an additional $5,000 per year if they wish. Now the nice part is the money can grow tax deferred while it's in the account. And then after 18, there's a couple of key uses that you're going to get favorable capital gains rates if your kiddo uses the money for these things. Those include housing, education, and starting a business. Now, if you're using the funds for other stuff, you're going to pay ordinary income tax and a 10% penalty, which is interesting, and it really incentivizes owners of these accounts to, again, lean into those things which typically would be considered opportunity builders for someone early in their life. All funds have to be withdrawn by age 31. So it sounds pretty good. There's some tax benefit here. There's some seed money. But how does this account stack up to the other accounts available? Well, the two key accounts I'll compare it to are a UTMA and a Custodial Roth IRA. We could talk about this in the context of 529s, but because 529s are exclusively used for educational purposes, these are more broad. We'll compare them to the other investing accounts for kids available that have a more broad purpose. You can see that with $10,000 of initial investment, the growth is going to vary a little bit between these accounts based on the different taxation. I'll talk through the UTMA taxation in more detail in a moment, but essentially, because of the tax deferred growth in the Trump account and the fact that UTMA has this kiddie tax structure, you're going to end up slightly ahead from an after-tax balance standpoint using the Trump account than using the UTMA. The UTMA does have increased flexibility over the Trump account, which could be a pro. Now, in general, UTMAs are considered the asset of the minor, and so they do affect FAFSA applications more so than other account types, which will be interesting to see if this Trump account is structured the same way and has the same FAFSA implications or not. Now, compared to the Custodial Roth IRA, you can see you win the day with that account. By and large, that tax-free money on the back end creates an after-tax balance that's way larger than these other two accounts, and that's why it's actually my favorite investing account for kids across the board, even with the advent of the new potential Trump account. Now, if you look at a side-by-side comparison of the Trump account versus the UTMA, one of the key benefits, of course, is the free $1,000, right? A UTMA does nothing if you don't contribute any money to it. And so if you're not going to make contributions on behalf of a kid, you might as well take advantage of the $1,000 that the government's willing to give you, right? That you didn't have to contribute. But all that aside, you can see there's this tiered structure to unrealized earnings in a UTMA. The initial part is tax-free, then we move into being taxed at the child's tax bracket, and then subsequently the adults. So at lower balances and lower unearned income ranges, the UTMA is pretty tax favorable. But as you get more unrealized gains, it becomes less and less so. Now, again, the UTMA has unlimited use, which you could consider a pro or a con, right? If you're a parent and you're very concerned that your child might do something crazy with the money, the UTMA has no limitations. But technically, neither does the Trump account, right? Your child's going to pay more in taxes if they're not utilizing it for these purposes, but that's not going to stop them from doing it per se. They'll just have less money to work with. Now, a Custodial Roth IRA functions exactly like your Roth IRA as an adult, right? You contribute after-tax money. On the back end, the money is totally tax-free. This is, by and away, the best account, but there's one big hiccup. The child has to have an earned income to contribute, and the cap on contributions is the annual cap, which for 2025 is $7,000, or earned income, whichever is lower. That presents a big barrier to entry, right? Especially for investing for a small child. The Trump account is going to give your kid $1,000 out of the gate, where in order to contribute $1,000 out of the gate to a custodial Roth IRA, you need to have an earned income for the child. So most of the time you have to be in a position to hire your kid for an age-appropriate task. Many times that's modeling services, unless your kid happens to be the Gerber baby. So which one's best? The Trump account is best. If you weren't going to contribute much, taking advantage of that $1,000 is a huge deal. If you want more flexibility but a little bit less favorable taxation, the UTMA is a good option. And if you want to win the day in terms of after-tax balance, custodial Roth IRA, of course, always reigns king. The question is, does your kid have an earned income so that you can actually make contributions on their behalf? Whichever way you approach this, you should feel really, really good about yourself that you're actually building some generational wealth. Whether you're contributing $5 to these accounts, $5,000, $50,000, at the end of the day, you're creating something for your child that you probably didn't have for yourself. If you're anything like me, you should pat yourself on the back. But please don't forget that outside of the free $1,000 from Trump, utilization of any of these accounts should come on your priority list below you ensuring you can have a standard inflation-adjusted retirement, meaning you can work full-time until 65, 67, replace your current standard of living, your purchasing power, not dollars, purchasing power. So once you check that box, have at it, use all these accounts and more to build wealth for your kids. But until then, make sure you're taking care of investing on your own behalf. If you want to learn more about how to build wealth as a medical professional, hop inside the Millionaires in Medicine Club. It's totally free. You can get access below. We have over 5,000 medical professionals inside learning to build wealth together. So if this kind of stuff is what you want to learn more about, make sure you're inside the club. Talk to you soon.